Today's question, is New World being replaced by Lord of the Rings? That sounds a little bit crazy, and I think the actual answer is no, it's not getting replaced. But yes, Amazon Game Studios are making a Lord of the Rings MMO, a new one, and there's reasons to be excited, I think. It's worth noting that they were initially partnered with Tencent to make a Lord of the Rings MMO, but that was cancelled. There is obviously the old Lord of the Rings MMO that's still hanging around, but this looks to be something completely different. So let's jump in. And it reads this: Amazon Games and Embracer Group's Middle-earth Enterprises strike a deal for a new Lord of the Rings game. And then if I read this, a lot of it just doesn't make logical sense to me, but I'm sure it's all sensible. But Amazon Games and Embracer Group, through its wholly owned subsidiary Middle-earth Enterprises, part of the operative group Free Mode, today announced that they have reached an agreement for Amazon Games to develop and publish a new massively online multiplayer game based on The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. It's worth noting that Amazon Games are the ones who are going to develop it. Basically, I think the Embracer Group, even though they own companies that have made games before, I think they've owned THQ Nordic and stuff like that, and other game companies that I don't really know too much about. They're the ones who own the rights to Middle-earth games. I think that's what this means. But it's going to be an open world MMO in a persistent world in Middle-earth. And they say the game is in its early stages of production with the Amazon Games Orange County. That, and it literally says here in the next line, that is the makers of the MMO New World. That is literally the same people who are making New World are now making an MMO. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be like, is New World getting replaced? Are they going to be overstretched? These are some legitimate questions. I obviously don't know the answer. I think probably not, because they're actually taking people from the other studios, which I can't remember exactly where they are, and they're moving them to the Orange County Irvine-based studio. So I don't think we're in any kind of trouble here. I wouldn't necessarily be worried. I think we're getting the expansion this year. I think everything's going to be completely hunky-dory and fine. But you might have that question and that concern, and there's sort of good reason to think it's the same people. It's probably going to be an action combat game set in the Lord of the Rings universe. I would not be surprised that when this game comes out, it will take some of the New World audience with it. So there's cause for concern, but this game is probably 5, 6, 7 years away. So let's not get too hung up on it. Let's just enjoy what we have when we have it, which is right now. There's another article where they say the Amazon Game Studio behind New World levels up its MMO ambitions with the Lord of the Rings project. They do say that while the Orange County Studios Lord of the Rings game will be rather different experience than New World, it will build upon some of the expertise and learning from the previous game. Then they basically big themselves up. A lot of this is just saying how they'll be respectful to the IP, how they've done very well with New World, how they're very excited about the future. A lot of it is them just sort of congratulating themselves, which is fine. That's it's a PR statement at the end of the day. They do say, and I said there would be some similarities, they say do not expect New World 2.0. I don't know if they're maybe telling us that the combat or something will be different, in that we obviously have no idea what's going to be different, but they're saying it will be different. And they talk about having multiplayer battles at scale is something that would fit with Lord of the Rings. So they will be utilising some of what they know, but obviously not everything. And something that might put a lot of us off, maybe me included, they do say, while New World's as-of engine will form the foundation of the game. Now, that engine, I have some big questions about. I honestly thought it would be in the Unreal Engine, but okay, apparently they're not doing that. The Orange County Studio plans to evolve that engine considerably. I mean, it needs so evolving, it is probably ditching, but okay. The team has some big plans, okay, blah, blah, blah. And they even say here how the first deal fell through. There was a deal with Tencent, basically, where they were going to do something together and that fell through. Now it sort of just sounds like they're doing it themselves. They're like, well, we can't work in partnership, we'll do it ourselves, goddammit. And really, let's get back to the big question. Is New World in any kind of trouble? No. New World is going to have an amazing 5 years' time, I think. We're going to have expansions. We're going to have all kinds of good stuff. I think New World's actually in a really good spot. I know people are going to be like, what are you talking about, Jay? Are you just high on the whole copium? But no, we're going to get the expansion, probably a trailer, in, I think, about 25 days, something like that, on the 8th of June. The hype at the end of this year, I think, will be very high. The season model, I think, is actually quite good if they sort of keep improving it. There's a lot of positives for me to think that New World will actually do well. I might be wrong. They may do a terrible job. They may have closed the forum so that they can all concentrate on Lord of the Rings. That may be the thing. I have no idea really, technically. But I think New World's got a long and good future ahead of itself. If they do a good job, obviously. But I would be surprised if the Lord of the Rings game doesn't eventually replace it. I feel like you would need a very, very big team to be doing 2 massive MMO content all the time. Now, maybe they have a very, very big team. We'll have to wait and see. I have no idea. So is New World harmed a little bit by this? I think probably so. I don't think there's any two ways about it. I don't think it's necessarily being replaced anytime soon, but there's a chance that eventually it does replace it. If New World's expansion doesn't bring people back, they may eventually give up on it and move on. I don't think that's going to happen for a long time, but I can't sit here and tell you that everything's going to be completely fine and there's nothing to worry about. As gamers though, we should just try and enjoy what we have right now and what we're getting. If the Lord of the Rings game is much better than New World and we're all happy with Lord of the Rings MMO, then is that not just perfectly fine and reasonable? I think so. I also don't think that's necessarily going to happen. I think there's a very long period of time before this game comes out. They mentioned the early stages of an MMO. MMOs take minimum 5 years, probably really, for a big MMO. And if you're going to be Lord of the Rings, I wouldn't be surprised if it's 7 years. I would not be surprised if this game comes out in 2030. That sounds crazy, right? It sounds absolutely insane. Might be a few years before that, I have no idea. But MMOs take a long time. And if it's 7 years away, then I'm just going to play New World till then, you know? So am I worried? Like, a little bit. There's a little bit that it's like, oh, maybe New World's getting replaced. But am I actually really concerned? No, not really. I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm not really a huge Lord of the Rings nerd or anything like that. No disrespect if you are. I'm a nerd of other things in other ways. That sounded so weird. But I like the universe. They look alright. I'm sort of a fan of it. It's quite similar to Warhammer in that Warhammer pretty much stole everything from Tolkien. So I am a fan. So we'll see what we get. I'm excited, apprehensive, excited, all at the same kind of time. I don't think it's actually getting replaced, but I understand that some people, many of you in the comments are going to be like, lol, New World dead, move on. And I don't think that's true just yet. Big shout out to my YouTube members. If you want to follow me and come and talk about this over on Twitch, I'm probably not streaming tonight, but probably tomorrow, then you should definitely come and give me a follow over on Twitch. What you should also definitely do is have a most beautiful day. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.